It's I'ma Let You Finish with Courtney and Amy on the Pantheon Podcast Network. What's up?
What's up, Courtney?
Well, we have a special guest on today's show.
Oh, we do. And special is not even the word. Let's say extra special, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious special.
I mean, she is a one lady brand who created herself. It's the legendary Harlem lady, Miss Bevy Smith. And,
little brown Betty in the house.
And, you know, we love Bev. She actually was the correspondent on the host of this year's red carpet at the Hall of Fame ceremony. So we're going to have a good kiki about that and some other stuff later. So including her book, Revelations, Lessons from a Mother, Auntie, and Bessie, which is out now. Books are important. Get your books.
And I will say that I believe that the word Kiki and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has never been used together in one sentence until now. Right. I don't believe Dave Grohl and Kiki have ever even been introduced to each other. But It took Bevy Smith to do it. So that's going to be fun. So we'll just bore you with a few things, and then you can come. So I heard we have a new mayor in New York. Who gives a flying fuck?
We have a new mayor.
Who cares?
The one city where the Democrats won some races is New York City.
All right, but okay. So two fun facts: like under 1.5 million people voted, so that's exciting. And this is a general election, so. Whatever.
When you see the amount of votes he got, it was like
it's pathetic.
It was like 100-something thousand to it was like
it's like 600. He had like 600 some odd changes to like 17,000. It's Eric Adams. Yay, whatever. Who cares?
Well, we gotta care because I always wish each new mayor luck because this city has a lot of shit going. This is the job that no one wants. Seeing that we did not have a formidable Republican, because really, I think if there was a formidable Republican, maybe there could have been more of a battle. But Curtis Sliwa, who I could never really tell what his platform was.
Okay. This is the best thing ever. So, all right, Google who Curtis Sliwa is. We don't have the time or the energy to go into it right now.
It's a gift.
But he's basically a circus peanut with a hat. He's an idiot. Okay, but he is an animal lover, but on his way to vote, so when you go to vote, obviously you are not allowed to walk into the polling place with any paraphernalia that says vote for me because it's supposed to be, non-biased. This clown tries to walk into his local polling place wearing a red jacket that says Sliwa on it, vote for Sliwa, so number one. And in his arms, he is carrying one of his 17 cats, his favorite cat, and he wants to be, and I am a cat owner. I love animals. And he is they're trying to explain to him, Mr. Sliwa, I'm sorry, you cannot bring an animal into a voting place. Words are exchanged. According to the New York Times, an election worker used inappropriate language. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Curtis Sliwa.
Couldn't be any more New York than that.
No, he soon will be. I'm sure they'll bring back The Apprentice and he'll be on that. So it'll be perfect.
I mean,
congratulations. Boston has its first woman and woman of color mayor. Mm-hmm. So that is great.
They also have their first, did they get it? Or was it in Virginia? The first Black woman, a lieutenant governor. I believe that's Virginia.
I think it's Virginia.
She's a Republican. I believe her name is
in Virginia.
Yeah.
New York City has its first.
I'm always down for women. I think women.
Well, depending on who the woman is.
But I do find that a lot of women in high positions really try to do some shit. You know what I mean? We have this new breed where everybody's kind of where the last president has made it okay for some people to come and be circus acts, but I don't think they're going to last long because ultimately people really do need shit done. Everybody does.
Well,
Eric Adams has a lot of shit to work on, so I wish him luck. I
wish him luck too. Mayor. I mean, obviously we wish him luck. We live here. We're going to be,
Yeah.
I mean, people listening in another state, hi, but you will not be directly impacted by it.
Because de
So
Blasio,
obviously,
man, we thought de
want
Blasio
him
was
to
going to be one thing, and do you see he turned?
No, we want Eric Adams to do well, but
yeah.
let's put it this way. I voted for the Socialist Workers Party because I was like, you know what? I can't. I just can't. I can't.
Listen,
but anyway.
Listen, I'm not mad at you. You said it to me. You were like, he's probably going to win. I can't do it. But I respect that you're like, I'm going to exercise my vote and I'm going to vote, but I can't vote for either of these guys.
If it was close,
I respect that.
Thank you. If it was close, I mean, but the tea leaves were red.
This wasn't a Hillary Clinton situation. We kind of knew, listen, like I said, if there was a formidable person on the other side, that might have been one thing. But like this dude is just like, yes, you can say a lot of things. I was old enough to remember you faking your own kidnapping and all of those things.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was old enough to remember him basically faking his own car accident last week.
You know what I'm saying?
I was this year old when he faked the car accident.
And listen, and I love an animal lover, and I love animals, and there'll be no judgment. We're going to end it on this. I don't think anybody be happy if their daughter came home and said, "Mom, I met a new man. He lives in a studio with 46 cats." And on that, you know, no mother would be like, "Oh my God, that's the one, girl."
Especially if that man, as in Curtis's case, is married. That makes it even worse. Well, the important thing is that in New York City, the greatest city in the world, the most important city in the world, sorry, but it's true. It came down to a man who can't quite determine what his fixed address is and a man who hasn't paid child support. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
New York motherfucking city in a nutshell.
New York City.
You know what else is very New York City? I just have to bring this up and shout it out. My heat finally came on. Sorry.
Oh, I thought you were talking about. Thank you. Well, it is.
It was at 1 something in the morning. It took 1 something in the morning on November 3rd because I was up in a sweatshirt. And most people would say that my apartment wasn't cold because it was probably like 68 degrees. But everybody knows
in New York City,
I don't like 68 degrees. I need my apartment to be 75 and up.
Courtney is a hothouse flower.
Yes, I am. So the heat had not been on because we've been having unusually warm weather. And I was having really jealousy because I had different friends being like, "Oh, I don't know what it is outside. My heat's been on." I'm like, "Fuck you." But at 1 something in the morning when I was sitting there watching results come in, being like, "Why are you doing this to yourself?" in a sweatshirt, suddenly I heard that sound that we all have in New York, that initial like, click, click,
clunk, 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 clunk.
And I was like, what's going on? And then I heard, and all of a sudden, all has been right in the world.
I'm glad for you, Pookie.
I need my motherfucking heat.
I'm glad for you. Well, we don't care really, or I don't care really, but congratulations to the Braves or blah, 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 winning the World Series. Maybe now you'll stop the whole tomahawk chop thing. I'm just saying there is a concept, perhaps. Anything else doing? Anything else? Should we talk about the list? Oh, so I started listening to that record last night, Courtney.
Agnes?
Oh.
Let me just tell you something, kids.
Love and Affection is my new song. Okay, we need to do this in person. We need a visual because your stop, drop, hammer time face right then.
I mean,
I'm gonna just stop because Courtney has to go into full Courtney, and I'll work on my coffee.
Agnes was around about a decade ago. She put out an album. Great, has not made a record in 10 years.
Wow.
So this record is out on like Universal Sweden. And it's a return to fucking form. If you like Robin, it's that vein of it's adult, grown, fiercely written, fiercely produced dance pop. And it's perfection. Her voice is amazing. It's called Magic Still Exists is the name of the album. And it is so fucking good. It's the first record in a long time that I've been playing just on repeat over and over. Because I like some things and I played them. I like the Steps records too. I like that little pop moment. There've been some things. But this one I've just been living with. Like I put it on when I'm going to take my walks. I put it on when I'm going to the market. It's just the one that is really sticking with me. It's so good.
Well, what's really, and I really like it a lot too. And you know, you guys, you listen to the show, you know that we are a fan of the smart dance record, which is not to say that this is not to infer that dance music is not intelligent, but there is a real difference. And who I'm going to talk about in a second, it personified that. But there's a difference between like whoo, whoo, and stuff that's actually constructed as a song that you just happen to be able to dance for. Right. And the kind of dance music that I know that I'm often very drawn to, like you, is the stuff where it would work without the beat, but my God, the beat takes it to another level.
Right.
And you know, and this record, beautiful, great voice. So what is her background? Is she just like a Swedish chick? Is she what?
I don't know. Let me look her up while we're talking about
I couldn't tell from the picture, but just really like great production, really emotional. This song, Love and Affection. I found myself sitting here because I'm listening to it and I'm sitting in my chair and I'm moving up and down in my chair, which to me, when I'm doing that, is like the equivalent of laughing to myself when I'm watching TV. If I'm dancing by myself and no one's around. So really, seriously, really good record. But yeah, if you like Roseanne, how do you pronounce her name? Roseanne Murphy?
Roisin.
So it's that kind of vein, right? It's that kind of like super smart. You found out about her? Or?
Yeah, she's a Swedish record. Well, you know, she's Swedish.
Yeah.
And yeah, listen, like, you know, she's been on records with like Avicii and different people. And like I said, she had an album. She put out really her last album, and I believe it was her first album 10 years ago. Wow. It's just so good. But here's the thing. Her inspirations are Stevie Wonder, Whitney Houston, Janet Jackson, right? For all three of those artists, especially like a Stevie Wonder, singer, songwriter, musician is personified. Janet Jackson had great songs that she wrote and co-wrote with Jimmy and Terry Lewis. And Whitney Houston had the best songs written for her. So you could tell like her lyrics, the phrasing, just the beats, because it's not doom doom doom. It's just no. It's it
works its way into you. Yeah, it works its way. And sometimes, you know, we all have short attention spans. And we all have limited time. And I know I, like maybe other people, kind of go, if it doesn't grab me immediately, I'm giving up. But this is like a slow burn. But once it gets in, it's a great record. I really like it. Well, it's funny because I told you a couple weeks ago, I sort of fell into an Arthur Russell K-hole. And so just to give a brief background on him and then talk about what I was listening. Arthur Russell was a musician and a producer and an artist who died in 1992 at the age of 40 of HIV. He was not from New York, but was very much a fixture of a certain type of downtown New York scene. Right. That kind of moment in the 70s and the 80s where the art world and gay men.
Well, it was all one. It was all meshed together.
Yeah, that I'm saying.
It was just artists. They were just all artists together. Yeah.
I mean, he was associated with Philip Glass, David Bowie, Larry Levan. He was a formally trained cellist, and he did sort of classical music and then became very intrigued by disco and dance music. Was a regular at the Paradise Garage where Larry Levan was. And he was responsible for... he was Loose Joints. That's him. He was the group Loose Joints. He was Dinosaur. He co-founded Sleeping Bag Records, and from that he was Go Bang. So
shout out to Joyce Sims, all in all,
and shout out to Will Sokoloff too. You know, Sleeping Bag. You know, great. So he was just one of those guys, and a lot of his stuff was produced by Bob Blank, and Bob Blank was another one of these guys who you just produced whoever wanted you to work with them. Yeah. It was the no wave, next wave movement. So he worked with Bob Blank, worked with Kid Creole, with Arthur Russell, with Talking Heads, and it just James Bloodomer, Debbie Blackwell, Fonda Ray, Over Like a Fat Rat. That's Bob Blank, right? Great classic. Some of them really well known, some of them lesser known. So I fall into this Arthur Russell K-hole every once in a while because he is great. And there are tribute albums to him out. They did a Red Hot about him. So there are a lot of him, and then the stuff he wrote and the stuff, because he was, you know, the stuff he like waxed a van and stuff like that. He was part of a group called The Necessaries, and they were signed to Sire Records. So it's, you know, a real label.
Right.
And they were what is called a power pop group. You know, sort of in the line of Cheap Chick or the Raspberries or something like that. And it was signed in 82. And the album was called Event Horizon. It is not on Spotify, which is annoying as all get out.
Is it one of those out of print? Like you have to
No,
really
it's back in print. It was reissued. It was reissued in 2017 so that Pitchfork could pretend they invented it. You know, oh my God. It's like, really? Because you're 12. But I do remember, and what was kind of notable about the group, Arthur Russell was in it. He sang lead on a couple of songs. What was notable about the group at the time, it was sort of a super group because Ernie Brooks from the Modern Lovers, Jonathan Richman and the Modern Lovers, I'm really getting white today. I'm going to white it up big time, was also in the group. And it was sort of, I think they put out 2 albums, but it's on YouTube. You can find the record. It's such a great record. I don't even know. I can't even remember, Courtney, how I heard the record, whether I heard it at the time or it just somehow came into my radar because I really honestly, because the single I don't know how I heard it, but it's a great record called Event Horizon. It is in print. It was reissued. It's one of those. And like Arthur Russell, it's one of those records. And he's one of those guys who's fun. He's really foundational, but was sort of very quiet, but yet you'll listen to his stuff and realize you've heard him before.
Right.
You've heard him before. And just, you know.
And you realize all those songs he were part of, they are still played today in clubs around the world. So that's like, you know, still played. If you're into like more avant-garde stuff, there's that Arthur Russell. If you're into like sort of like, you know, Larry Levan, Paradise Garage, classics mixes, there's that Arthur Russell. And then if you want to hear really nice, tight melodies, hooks, pop record, Event Horizon, which is came out in 1982. So that's what I've been. It's just fun. It's a fun record. I'll see if it's just a fun little record. I'll check it out.
Yeah. And thank you for the Agnes.
It's so good. So,
I really like it.
This past weekend was Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Everybody's in, and we've gotten reports back. We're about to talk to Bevy about that in a second. What do you think about everything? Who showed up, the bits that you've seen, and the show in general?
I mean, I do think that all right, here's my theory, and it's based on absolutely nothing. I think they were always going to give LL major shine. I think they were always going to do that because he, deserves it. You know, in my opinion, he deserves to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, capital T, capital rock and roll. He is in, but on a lesser category. But I think that they knew that with LL, when you have a show where Tina Turner is not going to perform, Todd Rundgren is not going to perform. They obviously knew that Jay-Z was not going to perform. You have to have someone who can literally get the crowd to their feet. And LL Cool J can do that because everyone in that audience knows one of his songs. Right. They know something. Even the people like, I hate hip hop, it's not rock and roll, know his stuff. So I was really glad that he got such a dominant thing. You know, we've discussed Taylor Swift before. I understand why she's with Carol Smith, but she just can't sing. I mean, that's all there is to it. And it's really funny. People are ripping Taylor Swift a new one on these stupid chats and stuff. People are just such ridiculous pure. You know, if nothing else can be done, can we just stop this purity test with music?
What are they upset about?
She's not rock and roll. Why is she there? Yeah, thank you. Courtney, for those of you who are playing the at-home version, Courtney rolled his eyes back in his head so far. Yeah, rock and roll, it's not rap. Why is it rap? And it's like, oh my God, it's 2021. We're still having this conversation. Like, stop it. Stop the conversation. You are playing yourself like nobody's business, you know? Carole King isn't rock and roll either, okay? If we're going to buy. Anyway, so I thought the show looks like it's nice. I would have been there.
Rock and roll is black music. It came from black music.
Well, there's that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's like everybody needs to have 5 fucking seats.
And then take another one. Take 5 seats.
Saying? And then grab an extra chair.
Yeah, grab an extra chair and order a drink because we're going to be here for a while with this shit. Okay. Hello. Yeah. So it looked like it was a really good show. All the tributes made sense. The people inducting all kind of made sense. Obviously, and you know, I'm sure Bevy will have lots of information. The big surprise was Dave Chappelle inducting Jay. I will say the footage I've seen, and you were absolutely right about this, Courtney. Jay, you know, good for Jay. Whatever you want to think about him. And there are lots of things to think about him, about his business dealings and his politics and his shenanigans. He's a good guy. And he worked. He is the only living solo artist, rap solo artist to get in. Tupac Shakur was inducted, obviously posthumously, though of course
DMC
if you're
were in, but they're
solo.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're a group. He's the only
solo
Tupac, Biggie are dead. He's the one solo guy who's alive.
The one solo guy. NWA, obviously a group. Public Enemy, a group. Grandmaster Flash, a group. Of course, if you're in QAnon, you think that Tupac is still alive. So there is a debate about that.
Living in Tulsa.
Is it Tulsa?
On West
Was it Tulsa? I wasn't sure. I had heard he was living in Des Moines. He moved to Tulsa.
I think he's
understandable.
Tulsa.
Maybe the schools are better there. The schools must be better in Tulsa. Yeah,
they have better water. He's like
better water. So the weather it's nicer in the summer. But anyway, I was glad to see that.
Me too. Let's get Bevy in and
let's get Bevy in.
You know what? Next up, we have our special guest, Bevy Smith. She is fresh off hosting the live red carpet at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony this past Saturday. You can hear her every weekday at 5 p.m. on Bevelations, her radio show as part of the SiriusXM Radio Andy network. And you can read her words or hear her audiobook every night in her released book, Bevelations, Lessons from a Mother, Auntie, and Bestie. Please welcome our friend, Bevy Smith. Welcome, Bevy. What's up, lady?
Hey, Bevy Smith.
Amy, Courtney, you guys are my faves.
No, you're my fave. Don't tell Courtney.
All right, Beverly, tell us. You were in the house on Saturday. First of all, congratulations on your hosting for the red carpet.
Bev.
It was great. You look great. You looked beautiful. I loved your dress. I love watching you with the Go-Go's. I love watching you kiki with the Foo Fighters and Clarence Avant. It was a really, really great time. So then on Sunday morning, I'm starting to see the tags of all of, people who were recording inside. And there was one thing that somebody sent me from some like Jay-Z fan site, and it's him giving a speech. And I'm like, okay, I'm listening to a speech, but I keep hearing this voice. And I was like, and the voice is like, yes, honey, I know. Yes. And I was like, was Bevy at the table with this person? And then I see that you were like, everybody ripped your fucking video and it was around the entire internet. So you were forced to post your own.
Yes, I was forced to post my own. Yes. So first off, I had never been to the museum.
Right.
Me neither. And I vote.
Amy, you have
going. I'm going.
Pilgrimage. Amy, it blew my mind. And for people like us that love all genres of music, it was just incredible. I could have spent literally, I said it, it's like the Disney World or the Louvre, because it's one of those places that you have to go multiple days. And when you're there, you need hours, and then you need to come back for another day. And then you need to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's just so much to take in. So they've done a really great job at curating things. And then they have a new curator, a Black woman. The first time ever they've had a Black woman as their chief curator. Her name is Waka Nkusa. And she was at the Grammy Museum prior to this. And so she's the one who's really dug in there and really made sure that there's a lot of diversity and representation in the museum itself. Now, the induction ceremony, Carole King on the red carpet.
Mm-hmm. Legendary. Icon.
Legendary. One, the cutest little thing ever. But
I was going to say, she must be kind of tiny, because I know Taylor Swift is tall, but Carole King was like stomach height.
I would say that Carole King must be about 5 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, she's tiny.
Yeah, she's tiny. And she was so funny and so cute. But the funniest part for me was that, we're on the red carpet, and because of COVID, they only had one person on the red carpet. That was me.
Nice.
And so that was to keep people safe, right? Because we all had to take tests before we came into the tent. We all had to be vaccinated, so they did the right precautions. But Miss Carole King was taking no chances. She was like, I want to be interviewed by you, but I can't come near you. And I was like, okay, because it kept being a give and take. I was like, Miss Carole King, I'm here to interview you. And she was like, and then she kept backing away from me. And I was like, I'm here to interview you. And she kept backing away. So it was really funny. But it was great to chat with her. Of course, her and J Hud collaborated together on a song for
the Aretha movie. Yeah, for Respect.
Yeah, for the biopic. And she has every single honor. She's a Kennedy Center winner. She's multiple Grammys. Now she's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think it'd be a nice
twice.
She got twice. First,
once with the husband, ex-husband, and that was part of the controversy about the double dipping in terms of her going back in again.
Well, I don't think that there should be a controversy about double dipping, Amy, and of course you vote, but I mean, there's been plenty of men that have been a double dipper. I mean,
no, I agree. I agree.
Dave Grohl is a double dipper.
No. Well, he's in there, and so is McCartney, and so is Clapton, and Stevie Winwood for multiple bands. I agree. I'm on the, full disclosure, I'm on the nominating committee, so I have to duck in and out of certain parts of the conversation.
Right. Exactly. So it was her and Tina Turner, but both only the second and third women to ever be inducted twice. Stevie Nicks, of course, is the first with Fleetwood Mac, and then with Steve as a solo artist. But she was super cute, and she was really honored. As you guys know, Tina Turner did not come. She gave a beautiful speech via video. She seemed very happy to be honored. And then Angela Bassett.
She looked beautiful. I've seen stills from her. She's holding her. I was like, come on, Tina. I love when we get a little glimpse of her. And it's like, no, I'm still here,
she looked
kids.
really good. Mm-hmm. And she looked really good. I was happy to see she looked so good and was so happy. I guess that's what selling your rights for $50 million will do.
Yeah. And not living in the United States.
Right.
Living in Switzerland, minding your business. But Angela Bassett was amazing on the red carpet. She was there to induct her, and she gently, said, "Oh yes, she was. She got in the first time for her duet. She didn't name.
No, that's true. She didn't name him. I noticed that in your interview. She did not name Mike. She was definitely like.
Well, there was a sort of concerted thought, unspoken among some of the women. In the committee to wouldn't it be nice to induct women not with the men that abuse them,
Right. Exactly. So that was great. And of course, Foo Fighters that's what, and I know you know this, Amy, because as you said, you're a voter, but I felt like 75% of the stadium were there for Foo Fighters.
Yeah, they're definitely a crowd. I told Courtney this once, and all right. So before I was in the Illuminati part of this, I used to, and I like Foo Fighters. I've seen them back in the day; they were really good. But I used to always laugh and go, "Who can I vote for where the Foo Fighters are not going to jump on stage? Let me see." And then I met Dave Grohl,
who's the nicest guy.
Literally, I had to literally swallow everything negative that I'd ever thought, not negative, but because we share our DC hardcore punk roots. So
and that's the thing about him. It's I tell people all the time, it's like, listen, I'm not a big Foo Fighters fan. They have songs that I like, but once you meet him, it's hard not to like him and them because he really is just one of the most genuinely nicest, approachable people. Yeah, he's really such a big rock star. He's a really cool guy.
Yeah, he really was really lovely. But the best part is, guys, I ran into the Foo Fighters and LL. And
I'm so glad you got to see them.
No, but I ran into them when we were all at the museum, and I was touring the new exhibit of the 2021 inductees, and then they all came up. So while I'm looking at Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl and
standing next to you
come up, and that was magical. That was pretty cool. One of the other fun exhibits from one of the inductees of this year is the fact that they have Billy Preston's wig.
Wow. That's great. That's really
great.
Fierce. That's great. That would be
love that.
What do you use for Billy Preston? The wig. Love.
I love that.
They have the wig and they have his little Casio, but the wig is the highlight. Obviously.
That's iconic, actually.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting. This is a little tea with us.
Wait, what do they have for Tina?
Oh, no. Let me get to this. Is the tea you want.
Okay.
So when I was at the chairman's party on Friday night, and a guy comes up to me and he said he's Billy Preston's nephew. And we sit down and we talk, and he says that right now they're battling with Who's out of Sam and Dave is still alive? Is it Sam or is it Dave, Amy?
I think it's
Dave,
Sam.
right?
Dave. No, isn't it Dave?
Sam Moore, right?
Yeah,
Y'all Google it.
Yeah, we're going to look it up
I
right
think
now.
it's Sam.
I think it's Dave, but we're gonna Google and find out.
All right. Sorry, I should know this. I apologize. It's still early.
Exactly. So the wife of the last remaining Sam and Dave guy is actually the executor of Billy Preston's estate. She controls it.
Interesting.
So he says, the nephew says to me, we're in battling with her. We're in court with this woman.
Wow.
She has no right to, have my, be controlling my uncle.
Sam is alive.
Sam is like, okay, so Amy knows her shit.
Mm-hmm. Or it was 1 out of 2.
Right, exactly. Is it a boy or is it a girl?
It was 1 out of 2.
Right, exactly.
Like, ask me which carpenter is alive. I can tell you that one.
Right, exactly. It's not Karen, right?
No, not Karen.
So he says, yeah, we're battling. So on the red carpet, the family came in and he had told me that his aunt was going to be there. So I figured the woman that was on the carpet was Billy Preston's sister. And I said, okay, yes. So you're the sister. What does it mean for your brother to be in the, this legacy, blah, blah, blah. And she gives me an answer. So when I'm done with the red carpet, there's this older white woman in a beautiful, sparkly red outfit. I mean, she's chic and she looks like a rocker babe. And she's hanging out with some people from the foundation. So I'm like, okay. She comes up and she's like, I'm Sam Moore's wife. Oof. And I control Billy Preston's estate. Oof. And I just want you were great on that red carpet. I watched the whole live feed, but I just want you to know that those people on the carpet were, first of all, that woman is not even his sister. That woman's name is blah, 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 blah. And yeah, two of the nephews were there, but you know what? I'm the one who owns the estate. So I'm going to give you my card. You give me a call because I want to clear the air. I said, oh, okay. I was like, I'm saying clear that. But it was one of those things.
I hate those things. That's those old school contracts, old school ironclad back in the day contracts, and people never revert the rights over. They never do.
And then there was some other family beef that they tried to get me involved in with another family that was of a person who was inducted, which I cannot say. Right. I can't give y'all the tea on that one, but I'll tell y'all offline. But yeah, so it was interesting because there was so much kind of like backbiting. Of course, there's always going to be that because everyone wants the glory, right?
Absolutely. Always. They always want the glory. And people get greedy when it comes to later in life, and that's how you're living off of any of the royalties or any of that money. People get greedy. And when they get greedy, they, and we've seen this a million times, they just want it. Yeah.
Yeah. We lost Amy.
Yeah, she's coming back.
Okay.
So tell me about Tina. What did they have for Tina in her exhibit?
They had her famous Versace Swarovski crystal encrusted mini dress.
Wow.
They had some old dresses from our Ike and Tina moments. I can't remember what else. I was so transfixed by the.
What did you think about Christina and her River Deep Mountain High?
As I said on the computer, it's very hard to sing against the wall of sound, Phil Spector's wall of sound.
It really is. Yes.
So,
it is.
You have to be a belter. You have to kind of rise above the music. Like people don't understand what the wall of sound is. Young people and also people that just don't know music don't know what that means. It literally was a wall of sound.
Yep.
You were in a fight with the music. Normally it's like, turn the music down. I can't barely hear myself. Phil Spector was like, turn the music up. I'm going to make her blow her fucking vocals out to get the song done.
Big
and so
voices.
Tina had to do that. Tina had to do that. So, but I think a lot of people, I know my comments were like, oh, she's screaming. It's like, well, you kind of have to. Yeah. Yeah.
And first of all, River Deep Mountain High, Tina Scream. That was a screamy song.
That's a screamy song. It is.
That's one of those ones where if you're singing it, you're screaming because it's big, and a big song like that, you're going to be screaming.
What do you tell? Which one?
River Deep, Mountain High.
Oh yeah, I have to say, and Bev, I'm sorry about that. Somebody needs to buy me a new computer. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So here's my. I don't know if you covered. Well, first I was going to say Taylor Swift, bless her heart.
No,
it would be nice if they could have a singer performing that song.
I didn't like that.
No.
Yeah, that was a weird. I get the singer-songwriter connection, but I feel like all of the people that Carol has been connected to, this, I don't find Taylor Swift a great vocalist.
But it's a singer-songwriter. She is like the heir apparent.
Yeah, she is.
The same way Carole King spoke for a generation of women, primarily white women, Taylor Swift certainly walks in that space.
I would say though, Carole King had way more cross-racial appeal than Taylor Swift.
Oh yeah, because remember, as we all know on this podcast, we all know that back then, Carole King was writing Black music. You know what I mean? Come on, Locomotion, Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Natural Woman.
Those were all songs that, by the time they came out, they were, kind of filtered through Blackness. So
yeah. And
Taylor doesn't play those games.
Not at all.
Not at all, honey.
I have to say one thing just from showing my age totally. I remember seeing the Go-Go's when they were a capital P punk band in San Francisco, probably in 1979, with the original bass player, who was asked to leave the band, or left the band because she wanted to say more of a and they were messy girls, and we loved them for that. So, and what I thought was really cool is that with Pat Smear from Foo Fighters being inducted and Belinda Carlisle, you have people
who were in the same band.
They were in the Germs together. The Germs, for people listening, is a seminal LA punk band whose first and only album was produced by Joan Jett.
And Belinda Carlisle was in the Germs? I've heard of the Germs. I had no idea.
Bands rotated. You know what I mean? You would grab somebody. I mean, I was in the first all-girl punk rock band in San Francisco.
Wow. I know. You showed me that picture. I was like, get the fuck out of here.
I was kicked. Bev, you'll love this. I was kicked out for not being decadent enough. And then I showed them.
Didn't you, babe?
Cut to Amy passed out on somebody's floor. But the question I wanted to ask, and Courtney and I, without getting too deep into it, and I did talk to Joe from Who Cares About Rock Hall Pod, who I hope you got to meet because he's just the best, him and Kristen. I will be very honest with you. When I found out that Chappelle was going to induct Jay-Z, I found out a few hours beforehand. And of course, I called Courtney because I know Courtney both cares and will be quiet about it. But then again, I went, who fucking cares? It's not a state secret. I will be very honest with you that I felt hurt. I felt I understand from a TV and a marketing and a publicity and an importance and a connection to hip hop, but I did feel like it was a bad move. How was he received in the hall? Keeping in mind that he is an Ohio guy.
Exactly. So they loved him. The crowd went bonkers. And also too, I think, Amy, keeping in mind the racial and probably mindset makeup of the folks who come to the Rock and Roll Hall induction ceremony.
Yeah.
I think that they're the kind of people who feel like cancel culture has gone too far, which is Dave's people, right? So I was not surprised that he was so well received.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to, but I have to be really honest that I just sort of felt like on many levels, I understood from a celebrity connective point of view, but I just thought, I was upset by it. I mean, and then I'll just leave it at that, I'll leave it at that. But I
didn't
understand.
care. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't like that he was like, I just want to start by, I want to apologize. And then he's like, nah, I'm just kidding. I didn't like that because I was like, listen, come and do your good work for Jay-Z.
Right.
Don't smite these people that you have been antagonizing now for 2 specials. But we're not going to get into that. Okay. Let's
right. Yeah. Okay. That's what I love. LL has been sort of the Susan Lucci of the rock and roll.
It's the Susan Lucci of the rock and roll.
Him and Kraftwerk.
Yes.
And And, it was sort of okay, he didn't really get the A-list prize, but we're going to make sure he gets his shine. And I'm very glad that he got prime time shine,
Yeah. Well, you say he wasn't going to get the A-list what?
Well, I mean, he's not technically, he is musical excellence, which is you get the same trophy, you get the same free pass to the museum. But I was very glad that they treated his induction with the same respect level and the same
yes, because that's the musical excellence. They don't usually get that whole situation that he got to have.
Do you know if they knew that Jay wasn't going to perform?
I don't think people even knew if Jay was going to show up.
Okay.
I always said he was going to show. I had people saying he's not going to come. I'm like, no, this is one of those honors where he's going to come. I thought the wife would come with him because this is one of those honors, but I knew that this is just one of those things. It's like when you go into the Songwriters Hall of Fame, you show up for that. You just do. Unless you're Todd Rundgren, but you show up for that. Who best part was he was playing down the road. That's what makes his.
Isn't that's
the best. That's the most rock and roll thing you can do. It's like not only am I not coming, my show is 3 blocks away.
A lot of people who advocated for Todd coming in were a little like, come on, dude, we've been fighting so hard for you for this, but I understand. I mean, I'm with Corey. It is a nice little, a sort of passive aggressive middle finger. And he did and having Patti Smith induct him, I thought was perfect, Absolutely.
Yeah,
perfect.
But and I thought that the hall really did a great job at letting him, in his own words, he was like, receiving some kind of honorary degree at some university. And at the end of it, he was like, and I don't care about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I don't even want to be a part of it. And that was the last word of his induction, which I thought was so cool that they understood what it was, right? Like they weren't trying to hide the fact that he literally does not fuck with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
At all.
It's so known that, it was just like, why try and hide it? It would have been the elephant in the room if they had tried to be like, Todd can't be here tonight.
Right.
I'm sure.
He's playing down. He's at the Stuckies down the street.
Right, exactly.
Oh, I used to love Stuckies. They used to have this pecan roll, but I digress.
Oh, come on. We're too hungry.
Don't digress. Okay, so wait. So, but the Todd Rundgren exhibit was really good. They have lots of his outfits. They had like 3 of his outfits. And Amy, I have to tell you, I just knew him from Something Anything. Like I just knew him from those 2 big songs. Hello, It's Me, and I Saw the Light. And then also that one that they use in stadiums. I can't remember what that song is called.
Oh, Rock and Roll All Day. I want to part. Yeah, that one. Bang a drum.
And you didn't realize how many people he's produced. He produced a lot of people.
Like I didn't know about the New York City Dolls. I didn't know.
Hall & Oates. He's a major mentor to Hall & Oates. He's the Philly Soul with his original band, the Nas, and Patti Smith and the Stooges, Yeah, he's a major player behind the scenes.
Major player behind the scenes. And also, too, one of the first people to ever, sell music on the internet.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it was like, I was really very excited about interviewing him. And then when I started really reading about him and realized, he hates them. And then so I went on our little call with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I was like, so Todd is not going to be there, right? They were like,
yeah, and you have to, like Courtney was saying, you have to admire the guy, whether you agree with it or not. You have to admire the guy for sticking to his guns. I mean, Radiohead played it both ways. We don't give a fuck about it, but 3 of us are going to show up, So, I mean, you have to give somebody their due for taking a stand. You can't be mad at that at all. But
I will say, Amy, that I was talking to a few people, just folks that are, those fancy, I guess, board members and things. And a couple of them were very pissed off. Fuck him. He's playing down the road. Like they literally said what Courtney said. Fuck him. He's playing down the road. He's playing in the same fucking state and he can't fucking show up.
No, some people get really offended by that. They're like, we're giving you this honor. You should be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with Courtney. I think it's a nice, you know what? He gave the fans, he did what he wanted to do, which is perform for his fans, not change his thing. It's not like he booked the gig the day before the show. He was committed to performing, and it's all good. Better that than beaming him in, right?
Well, yeah, better that than him coming and actually blowing up the joint, right? That would have been very rock and roll.
Except what time did the ceremony start?
Oh gosh, what?
8?
7, 8? I can't remember.
Because I'm like, if you don't go until like 9 or 10, you could be first, receive your honor, then you jump out, you should get on depending how far, get on a helicopter, which artists do, and just get from place to place really fast. But I just think for me, if you're getting that kind of honor, and clearly you participated in some way because they have a bunch of your items, so things were sent in, it's like,
no, but people probably had that. That was probably other people's property.
That's a good point, though. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I bet that wasn't his. I bet that why would he cooperate with them? So guys, the Go-Go's.
Mm-hmm. I love Jane Weedland. I'm a big Jane Weedland fan.
I love Jane Weedland too, but what was so odd, and I said this on the carpet, 3 separate people reached out to me on Instagram in my DMs and said, please ask Jane what she's wearing because it's my friend designed it. And I was like, well, the first one I kind of ignored because I'm like, fuck you, I'm not there to do fashion. But then when 2 other people that I actually knew said it, so that was the first thing I said.
And she was shocked. And she was like, I just got here. You were like, well, people are already hitting me. 3 people.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know what's going on. They were really, really cool gals. Belinda, Courtney said something. Courtney, you want to tell them what you said?
Well, because when you were ending everybody, like you started with Jane, then I think you went over to like Charlotte. You went through the whole thing and you kind of spoke to her almost last. And I could see her kind of looking like thinking you were going to turn and talk to her. And then when you turned in her direction, you didn't talk to her next. And it was like, I could see, it was almost like I felt her energy of being used to being spoken to first, that unspoken thing. So that when you finally spoke to her, you could tell she was ready and on it. I'm like,
No, but Gina is one of my fave Go-Go's.
Yeah.
And also, of course, how can you not love Belinda? I mean, she is the voice of the Go-Go's. But also, too, and it's the same thing I did with Foo Fighters. Like, and I actually said it to Dave Grohl. I said, I'm not going to talk to you right now because you've already been inducted.
Then he walked off.
And then he walked off.
That was hilarious.
Because I was just like, everyone talks to these people.
First, it's true. And everybody is being inducted. So
Everyone's
they're all being inducted. That's very true.
So, I mean, I don't know if that was but it's so funny because when it came to the Foo Fighters, the producer is in my ear saying, don't just talk to Dave. And I wanted to curse him out and be like, would I ever just talk to?
Right.
Like, I'm not an amateur at this.
Right.
Yeah. You've been at the rodeo before.
I've been at the rodeo before. Whoever would, like, everyone knows that Dave is his band. So that means that you don't just talk to him first because no one else is going to get a chance to talk if you let him go, right?
Yeah.
But Taylor was definitely ready, honey.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor was ready to talk.
Taylor Hawkins, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate that I didn't get a chance to talk to Pat, though. I really talked to Pat.
Smear. Do you know, this is, I mean, do you know, this is really crazy. It's got nothing to do with anything, but back. People didn't realize that Pat Smear is black.
Well, I looked at him and knew.
Well, not back. I'm talking about 1978, 1979. He looked very, very different.
People know black people. He looks black.
Yeah, we always thought he was Mexican.
Wait, hold on. Pat Smear's black?
Yes.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
But
I don't think I ever really looked at him.
Well, honest, and that's understandable because he's not like poor. It was just and I'm just saying this is not. I'm not excusing, but I'm talking about a very insular scene in Southern California, Northern California. So the assumption was, he must be Mexican, which is totally. This has got nothing to do with anything. But I'm so happy for him. I don't know the guy, but just imagine that you were the guitar player in this raggedy, nobody can play their instruments punk band, and now you're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Kind of twice, because he was part of Nirvana too.
Yes. So.
What I'm just curious. I mean, Courtney and I have talked about, obviously, and you know this, the Rock Hall problems with Black music, the Rock Halls. It's no big secret. Rock Hall's problem with hip hop in particular. Jay is the only living solo performer, hip hop performer, to be inducted. So it felt like he was the star of the night, at least from reading the coverage.
Well, I mean, people were certainly excited for him, but Foo Fighters were the star of the night.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. No, I would say it's Foo Fighters. Then it was, I mean, I wouldn't, I got to tell you, Amy, LL's performance was I feel like LL has learned so much from being in Hollywood and from being in white spaces that he knew how to really do that show to cross over to the people in that space who are resentful of hip hop artists being a part of it. Because, he did Johnny B. Good.
Wow.
Go, co-creator, go.
Right.
Go,
nice.
co-creator, go.
Nice.
So he was trying to merge the cultures in that way, right?
And bringing out Eminem certainly does that.
Bringing out Eminem. Also, even just bringing out a J-Lo, who he knows is a huge...
Courtney's nemesis. Courtney has nightmares about her.
She just won't stop. She's relentless.
Let me go on the record as saying I am probably one of the top 10 musical J-Lo fans in the world.
That is the saddest statement I've ever heard in my life.
Courtney, I swear, hand to God, when I saw that, I could hear the screaming from your house.
When I literally saw it, I was like, oh, fuck.
I felt for you, Courtney. I was like, oh no. Of all the women in the world, even though she had a legitimate right to be there, Courtney's going, not J-Lo.
Anybody but Jennifer Lopez. And I think we lost Bev. She's going to have to log back in.
No, I'm here.
Oh, you're here? Okay, cool.
I'm just like, don't bash my good girlfriend.
No, listen.
I'm with you, Bev. I'm with you.
Listen, I will always clap for Waiting for Tonight because I am a queen and that is our anthem. And I have been known for the 11-second version to come on in the club to have a full performance. Okay, I will give that to her. But that was also in 1999 or 2001. I don't need her to still be here trying to sing. I just don't need it.
Can we move on, please, from the J-Lo?
Thank you, Beverly. The crazy thing is, if you had told me 2 years ago that I would be, no, but J-Lo, I feel this compulsion to defend her, and I don't even really care.
And I know you like her, Bev. I know you like her.
That's
and
right.
I don't dislike her. I just. It's just
but you
too
know why
much.
I like her? You know why I like her? Because she is what you said. She is relentless. I love the fact that she has gumption. You know what she's like? She's like a white man. She is like, I'm going to do whatever it is I want to do.
Love Beverly Smith. I am now telling my son he has to change his name to Beverly Smith. I don't care. If he has another kid, that child must be named Beverly Smith.
Can we talk about something more exciting, Beverly Smith?
Well, can y'all start calling me Bevy? And
yes, I know.
Well, it says here, I know. I don't know why we're doing that.
It's funny because across the street, it keeps saying Beverly Smith. Can we talk about something more exciting, Bev? Can we talk about Bevelations, lessons from mother, auntie, bestie? Can we talk about it?
Oh, my
because
God.
You've written this book, and I just want to say this to people. Books are important. Reading is important. It is the holiday season. You want perfect gifts to give people. Are we back in the office and we're doing Secret Santa and what's the other one they call White Horse, whatever the games are, or something to give your mom, your sister, your friend, people who you know love to feel inspired or need inspirational pieces or need to know that you can change your life in the middle of it, it might be complicated, but it's okay and it's rewarding on the other side, please get this book. Please get Bevelations, Lessons from a Mother, Auntie, Bestie. And please try to get it. It's in bookstores. If you have a local bookstore in your town, go and look for it there first, right? And then if you don't see it, order it online. I think it's really important for us to, one, support authors, because we don't need writing to be a dying art form. It's not just about pictures and captions. Books are still amazing, and there's something you can pass down to people. I love reading, and I love getting suggestions from books from friends. And I will tell you, this is a great book. And you guys, just support local, support your authors. Now let's talk about it, because you put this book out during the pandemic, which really changed your plans of going out and seeing the people. And now you're getting to do that. And I know you probably have some more dates coming up. So how has it been for you, the experience of being an author and having this book out in the marketplace?
Well, it's first of all, thank you guys so much for the kind words about Bevelations. And I have to say, the book has been such a blessing in my life. There's a lot of things, a lot of feelings, a lot of emotions tied up into the book because, as you mentioned, it came out during the pandemic. I was editing the book when the pandemic first happened, when the shutdown happened. I had the book for only 2 weeks for the final edit. And then I got COVID immediately. And then a month after the country closed down, my father died of COVID. So that changed the trajectory of the book as far as like, now all of a sudden there is a whole chapter about COVID in the book. And there's a whole chapter that's just devoted solely to my dad in the book.
Right.
And so that just changed the kind of the feeling and the tone of the book. But, everything is as it should be. Clearly, that's the way it was supposed to be. And I love the cat's tail in the. You guys have no idea what's going on.
Yeah,
right.
I know. I have tried that.
Is the reason why we are no longer doing Zooms because
right.
of this kind of shenanigans.
Right.
Okay?
I'm sorry.
Fucking cat's tail.
She loves you.
Okay, she also loves Bevy Smith. But yeah, so the book has been great to be out in the world and now touring. I'm doing my Life with Vision tour. I've done stops in Chicago, DC, Philadelphia, Atlanta. It's been incredibly fulfilling. I'm going to start back again in January. Can
people sign up now at your website?
Yes. They can do a little inquiry onto bevysmith.com. We also have been doing a fabulous called Sisters in Business Expo. And there I was like doing these great talks, like fireside chats, and we're selling the Bevelations It Gets Greater Later mugs, the Bevelations It Gets Greater Later tote bags, candles created by Black women in Harlem, like all these things. It's like a full emporium moment.
Is your bundle still on your website where people can get the book and the bag and all of this stuff in one bundle? If you go to bevysmith.com.
All of it. But I do want to say that, the book lives on. The book came out in January. The greatest thing about books, and this is what all authors have told me, they told me this way before, your book lives on. And what I will say is just 2 weeks ago, no, actually just last week, my book agent reached out to me because a very well-known producer wants to read the book. They're interested in the book about
film rights.
Yeah, the film rights. And I was already approached by a very, very current modern day content creator, a female producer who's doing a lot of big things. And she was very, very interested in my book. But it turned out the way in which she saw my book was very differently than the way I saw my book. And so I had to decline.
Right.
Because I know exactly what my book is supposed to feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And people can do tweaks, obviously, but I wouldn't want the book turned inside out.
Right.
It's a celebratory book. My number one mantra, it gets greater later. That's my number one bevelation. It gets greater later. So I want people to feel empowered. Like, it doesn't matter that you're 40 years old. It doesn't matter that you're 50 or 60 or even 70. When I interviewed Cicely Tyson 2 days before she died, and she was like 93 years old and 94, she was still working.
Right.
And she wasn't working like, oh, I'm at the Walmart working, like I'm poor. She was working because that's what she loved to do. She was still passionate about her craft. And that's the goal that I want everyone to have. And Courtney and Amy, you guys should know. And in the same vein of that whole "it gets greater later" mantra, it's been announced that the Amazon series that I'm actually acting in, Amy, I'm an actor now.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming out in December.
Oh, Bevy, I am seriously you're someone. I'm so happy for you. Seriously, so happy for you.
And what people don't realize is that's a full circle moment, because when you left Rolling Stone, you did all that in the beginning, you were like, I'm going to act.
Yes.
And you were taking classes, you were studying, you were like, I'm going to act. And then life, all these different opportunities came. So the fact that it's now coming back round to the original thing is it's what you say. If you don't give up, and you can't just not give up and sit around, you have to be pushing your life forward and you stay ready. You just don't know, because that opportunity can always come back around again. And as long as you're ready, you step right into it because you're ready.
Yeah. No, it's really been, I mean, I can't wait for folks to see me acting. And then I just did a little thing for BET for Tyler Perry's The Oval, where I play like a newscaster, a political newscaster. That's living online now. So it's like, I'm doing these projects, and also there's a film that's coming out starring Mahershala Ali, and it comes out in December, and it's on Apple TV. And I literally was the art consultant on that. So when you're watching the film, when the credits roll, it's going to say art consultant Bevy Smith, because I did the art for the interiors of the character's home. So I called up my friends, the great Kende Wiley, who did the presidential Obama portrait. I called him up and I said, I need to use some of your artwork. I called up Derek Adams. I called up Nicolene Thomas. I called up Jamal Shabazz.
Come on, Rolodex. She's like, hold on.
Yeah, I was like,
I'm sorry. Hold on, sweetie.
Yeah, really. Hold on.
She's like, hey, child, it's me. I'm doing this movie. I need a couple of paintings and a sculpture from you. And I need that Lichtenstein from you.
Right. Hey, Kay Wiley, what's up?
Right. It really actually was that. And he was all the way over. He's in his compound.
Is he still in Africa?
Yes, he's in his compound, and it's not Ghana. I forget where
he's in Senegal. He's in Dakar.
Senegal. That's right. He's in Senegal, and it's called Black Rock, and which I'm hoping to go to in 2022. But he was in Black Rock, and I called him up, and he was so sweet. He said, is this a Bevy Smith favor, or because it's literally 10% to even get a loan or a facsimile of a Kehinde Wiley painting is 10% of the purchase price.
Right.
Wow. Even just the facsimile version.
Right.
And so the production can't afford that, because that's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right.
That's for millions of dollars.
Right.
So he said, is this a Bevy Smith favor? I said, it is, baby. He said, okay, we're not going to charge you.
Wow.
Nice. See?
Wow.
And there you go.
Because I always tell people, once you get paid, and I would love to know from you guys if you believe this. I believe, just like if you're a sex worker, once you get paid for something, you're a pro.
Yes. As a former sex worker, I agree with you.
Right?
Listen.
Once you get paid for it, you're a pro, right?
Listen,
yes.
You know how I've been, working for myself since 2010. You know what I mean? I absolutely believe there's a value to everything I do. I'm a professional, and I treat it as such.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you've done. Everyone here has done the work, and it's paid off for everyone in their own ways, without a doubt. When people say things, oh, you work for yourself. No, I'm working.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's harder because guess what? There's no every 2 weeks, the check just doesn't come. It's like I'm earning the check and writing the bills and paying the insurance check, all of it. I'm doing it. So can we also talk about your fabulous radio show on Radio Andy? Because here's
My
another
award-winning,
award-winning radio. The crazy thing about that is how many years in we are now. I remember when you were going to do it, when you were never like, I want a radio show. Suddenly you have a radio show. And of course, a bunch of the people who started on that network with you did not last with shows, but yours did. And you're still here. What do you attribute that to?
I think that I have really good relationships with a lot of different types of celebrities. Mm-hmm. I also think that I have a really good rapport with my listeners. Mm-hmm. And, Andy fucking loves me. And it's Andy Coleman's station. And Andy believes there's great value in what I have to say. And he does not ever tell me what I can or cannot do. Famously, the only note he's ever given me, Amy, because Courtney knows this, the only note he's ever given me, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I was obsessed with asalingus, which is what, the art of eating ass, right?
Tossing salad.
I was not prepared for this call.
Yeah, because I just think it's, I'm 55 years old tomorrow, actually. Wow.
Oh, happy birthday!
Thank you. But
where are you going this year? Are you taking a solo trip like you used to do?
No.
She used to take solo birthday trips. She'd be in India. She'd be in all.
Yeah. But now with the pandemic, child, you can't really move around the world easily. Right. And I'm not for getting a fucking, test every fucking stop along the way. Right. So I'm doing something that's not going to be exact though. But like I said, I'll be 55, and the only, for me, the sex era. And Amy, you said you were a sex worker. So
I did. I worked in a go-go bar, and I did phone sex once, and I was a stripper for 5 hours.
That's not really sex work.
Come on, let me have it, please.
Okay, girl, you were sex worker.
Let me have it, please.
You were sex worker adjacent.
Yeah, adjacent. I'm not as cool as you guys. Let me have it.
Okay, that's adjacent. Well, I thought you were the good old sex. But anyway, point is this. I don't know about you, but as a Black woman in her 50s, giving a blowjob was a big thing. So certainly eating ass was something that was never even on the table. Mm-hmm. So there was a song that Lil Wayne talked about eating booty like groceries and, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, obsessed with the idea that people were actually doing this in the world. And so my guests would come on the show and I'd be like, so do you eat ass? And do you like your ass eaten? And that's the only thing Andy ever called me on.
He was like, girl, we're done with that conversation.
Really? And scene.
Yeah. Yeah. He was like, okay, girl. So I was like, okay.
I think we can end the show like for the entire run of the show. We are never going to top this show.
We've covered it all, everybody.
We've covered it all.
We've been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Really?
And we've been to the inside of an ass. And
really?
On that, I'd like to thank our guest, Bevy Smith. Remember,
we love you, Bev.
Please support her. Support women. Support Black women. Support authors, support reading, support bookstores. Her book is out now everywhere. It's called
Revelations, Lessons from a Mother, Auntie Bestie.
And you can hear her Monday through Friday on Radio Andy at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Channel 102.
Channel 102.
And please don't look for me on BevySmith.com and on all things social media. It's just Bevy Smith, Bevy Smith.
Follow her. Listen, guys, now, if you want the truth in the Kiki, you need to be following her on Twitter. The Instagram is cute, but her Twitter is where it goes down. Her Twitter is where it goes down. And go to her site. The book is there. The bundles are there. There's candles. There's bags. There's so much more. We love Bev. And you know where to find us because you're here. Thank you for rocking with us. Thank you for also rocking with other shows on the Pantheon Network, which we are a part of. We come out there every Thursday. And remember to follow us at Twitter at Finish Imma, on our Facebook page where we're really active at ImmaLetYouFinish, and on IG at ImmaLetYouFinish NY. It's been great, guys. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
It's NFL draft season, and that means it's time to start thinking about fantasy football. FantasyPoints.com features industry-leading experts and prognosticators using proprietary hand-charted data to help you score more fantasy points. FantasyPoints.com is the place to go for whatever kind of fantasy football you play. Whether you play fantasy football, daily fantasy sports, or do a little bit of everything, Fantasy Points has the meticulously researched content to guide you to victory. And why wait for the fall? Fantasy Points also covers the new spring football league, the UFL. Join the guru, John Hansen, Scott Barrett, Joe Dolan, and other massive names in the fantasy football universe with an exclusive offer. Use code Pantheon for 15% off any Fantasy Points package, including the all-in package, with access to every article, tool, and data nugget that Fantasy Points has to offer. That's FantasyPoints.com and code Pantheon for 15% off at Fantasy Points. FantasyPoints.com, code Pantheon. Score more fantasy points.